All right, Frank Pleasant's here, Vyral Marketing. I want you to meet Tamara. She's up in Everett, north of Seattle, and she runs a pretty successful real estate team. We're going to talk about what she's doing today to recruit agents to her team in a down market. It's no secret that existing home sales are lower. You're going to learn today what she's doing. Tamara, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, you bet, Frank.
Well, take me back to maybe when you decided to hire Vyral and what was the problem? What were the issues you were facing at that point, and you needed a solution for it. Let's start there. And then we'll work into from that point what you're doing for your recruiting to grow your team. And by the way, before here, 21 agents currently in Washington, 9 agents in Arizona, and 2 markets. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Yep. I'm out. I have a location in Everett, North Seattle. We also have a location in Spokane for our Washington division, and then Arizona, Mesa, Arizona as well.
Good. I just moved to Arizona. I live in Tempe, right
Nice.
outside Mesa. Yep.
Oh, very
I'll say hi
close.
to
I'll be
your
there
I'll
in
say
two
hi to your
days.
agents.
Perfect.
So let's just start off because this is a viral marketing interview. Just the
Yeah.
problem and the challenges you were facing when you were looking for a solution like ours. Take us back to that point, and we'll start the story there to get what you're doing for recruiting.
I think honestly, consistency probably sums it up. I was one of my main roles is talking with talent and helping them with their business and recruiting and bringing them in. And I was just kind of all over the place whenever I had time to do it. And I just sat down and created a plan and wanted to be more consistent in my message. And then that's how we met. And it really kind of what you talked about with Vyral kind of fit into that puzzle of how I wanted to be more consistent in what I was doing and a plan behind it.
So let's take it from top. What's the plan? What is your plan? How would you
So
describe it?
I actually on a piece of paper I drew a circle and it kind of looks like a pie. And I started first of all, how I broke that down and created the plan around it was I looked at the people that were around me currently. I looked at every single one of my agents and was, where do I know this person from? How did I get connected with this person? And I started writing down pieces of the pie. So, like one of my agent partners who's been with me over 3 years now, Carrie, I met her through our real estate school. We own a real estate school, and she was a student in the real estate school, saw one of our ads online. So I wrote that down as one of the pieces, real estate school. I wrote down the connection with other of my team members connected us. So I wrote that down. How do I tackle that piece of the pie? And I went down. So I'm looking at it in front of me. I have my pie chart sitting on the wall so I can always remember of the different ways where my people and I got connected. So we have our Brivity Recruiter AI. It's our marketing tool, putting ads out. Mastermind events. I love hosting mastermind events and just socializing with other agents and getting to know kind of what's happening in their market. And 2 of my agents that joined me, I met through that environment. What else? Our real estate school, through our agent connections, co-oping brokers, ones that are on the other side of the transactions. I have 2 agents on my team that had done a transaction with one of my agents and was just like, how do you do what you do? And they started a conversation. So that is one piece. And then social media. And, the social media, that's kind of where you guys came in. That wasn't my strongest point. But I looked at each piece of that pie and thought, okay, what is the plan and the strategy to attract more talent, more recruits with that piece? And then I moved on to the other and created that, in essence, that rhythm and that flow of my recruiting.
Because you're responsible for all the recruiting. That's your job. You
Yep.
don't really have anyone helping you out with that.
Nope. Nope. That's me. Now, of course, I do have my director of operations, Tiffany. She helps me on the back end. She, in fact, is the last piece of the interview because one of the things that I say all the time is I want to wake up with people that I like and that they like me. and that we're all kind of heading in the same direction. And so with Tiffany, it's important to me that she feels the same way. So she is part of the process. But at the end of the day, if recruiting doesn't happen, it's me.
Let's talk about your sales numbers. So you're playing the
Yeah.
sales recruiter role. How many calls, appointments, meetings, recruits a month do you need? What are the numbers you have to hit your recruiting goals?
So for me, I always look at net two. I always want to be in a forward growth moment. So I'm always looking at having that number. Now, I will preface that with it's more important to me that we're aligned in culture and that we're aligned in business goals than we are of just hiring any two people. So I think you'll feel that, or you'll hear that from a lot of leaders that recruiting is in their pipeline, right? I'm more interested in being with people that that want the same things and are driven. Now, in saying that, I do have a strong goal of a net two every single month. So I'm probably talking to 10 people every week that's the first conversation I have with them. So I'm talking with 40, 50 people in that first conversation every single month to make sure that I find the right two people for me and that I'm the right person for those people. So I just make sure I'm in a lot of conversations because I don't want to just talk to 2 or 4 people and hire two people. I want to make sure I'm hiring the right people. So getting in a lot of conversations every week and every month.
You talk to 40 potential agents that are like open to potentially working with you a month to find
Yes.
two.
Yes.
Well, that's insightful.
And they're either already licensed or they are in real estate school and going to be licensed within the next 2 to 4 weeks. They're just finishing up real estate school or they're already licensed. Those are those 2 categories. I don't talk with anybody who has not already at least signed up for real estate school. That is just that group, about
So get
40 or more.
got to be licensed or you're enrolled in school,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Now we do, of course, we own a real estate school, so we have a plan for that too. But I personally am not the person that is talking to the unlicensed people.
Got it.
Yeah.
How in the world do you get 40 conversations happening like that with everything else you have going on? Let's
Um,
dive into that because that's a heck of a
yeah.
strategy.
Yeah. Just the wheel. So I'm looking at my wheel right now. So every month I'm doing one mastermind minimum. Sometimes I'll do 2. One mastermind. Um, every day we are running real estate related ads. So I would say we have about 10 ads running at all times. And my executive assistant, Heather, is constantly looking at those and seeing which ones are creating the most amount of people calling in. And then
And,
she's
and to
playing
be
with the
clear,
others.
these are job ads like on Indeed.
Yep. Job ads related to real estate. Yep.
And you're getting
Yep.
licensed, you're getting
Now,
licensees from that.
yes, a lot. Actually, we get a lot from that. Yeah.
That's
Now,
insightful.
I do specifically use Brevity Recruiter AI. Now, I know that they also will pull from other sources like Indeed, you mentioned, but Brevity Recruiter AI is my number one source for real estate ads that go out to the public. Yep.
Great. So
And and I have some, we have a whole plan around that. So we do have a strategy over how to get more people responding. If they're not responding, how are we tweaking the ads? How often we put the ads out? How often we refresh them? All of that makes a difference. And I would say anywhere between 5 and 10 ads, but I'm usually heavier on the 10. And then career information sessions. We have 2 career information sessions a month, one in person, one over Zoom. I do not host those personally because those tend to drive ones that people that are interested in real estate and haven't yet signed up for the real estate school yet or the real estate classes. Um, Social media, I feel like I'm starting to get traction on that now because of you guys. I'm
Yeah.
having people reach out because of the things that I'm saying on social media. I'm having people that are, and that is mostly driving licensed agents, people that are already in the industry, kind of asking, "Tell me more about what you just said," or "I do this. What do you think about this?" People reaching out to me on that. And then the other pieces, our team agents. One of the things that we have with our company is something that's called revenue share. So when our agents connect with an outside agent and they refer them on to the team, they benefit in something we call revenue share. So there's an incentive to do that. So, for example, one of my agents really loves hosting that career information session. So they do that and help drive people to the real estate school. Some of my other agents, which I think is a brilliant idea, they're doing open houses anyways. They will look at all the open houses in the area and go and connect with some of the other agents that are doing open houses just to start building that relationship and seeing what they're doing in their real estate business right now. The market is changing. I think providing information to people, providing that connection to people, I think people are yearning for that. So we really are focused on that.
Let me see if I can summarize all the great things you shared. To recruit 2 people a month that fit your culture and who you want, it's about 10 conversations a week. How do you get those conversations? You're holding a monthly mastermind. Is that in person?
That one is in person. Yes.
I'm sure you run that. That's probably more of your higher producers, relatively speaking.
Yes. Yes. And probably more long-term relationships, which I'm good with. I've been doing this for 22 years. I've been doing it for a long time. If
Mhm.
we end up not being in business together, we're still making a difference in each other's businesses.
Job boards, online ads.
Yep.
So we have applicants coming in from there, which many are licensed, which is a cool insight. Just curious, what are your headlines or unique selling propositions? There's no lack of job ads out there for a real estate agent. Is there any
Mhm.
nuance with the messaging you share with the audience that get those to pull a little better than most?
Well, I might be biased on this, but like one of them that brings in a lot of candidates is our showing specialist ad. Our showing specialist job ad talks about how you can jump on, like I call it our bus, so our real estate bus, our business. So how you can jump on someone else's seat on that bus who is already producing a good amount of business and help them with their showings and kind of be linked arm in arm with one of our top producing agents. That does bring in a lot of licensed, unlicensed, and licensed for that specific job role. And I think again, you know, sometimes as a solo agent, this is a grind. There are so many different things you have to do as a real estate agent. So sometimes, you're looking for that leverage, and we get a lot of people responding to that one. I think clarity in our ads of what it is that I would say, leverage is a big piece that people are responding to. If you come and partner with us, here are the things that we do to help you with your business. I think that is probably the second biggest attractor. And then for us, the third one, I would say that when we're talking about, and it doesn't really matter if it's on a listing specialist ad or a buyer specialist ad or a sales specialist ad, we're talking about some of the features that we have specifically. So if anybody is posting ads out there, kind of figure out what your unique value proposition is, because people are looking for that. So some of the things that we put in there, like when our partners reach a certain level, if they're closing 250,000 in gross commission income or 24 units, whichever one they get to first, they qualify for our healthcare, dental, and vision program. That is something that's very unique to us. So anything like that you have unique, I would suggest make sure you're laying it out in the job postings, especially for seasoned licensed agents. They are looking for something different they can plug into. Those are my top three.
Yeah, but that's excellent. We would run for quite some time an apprenticeship model. It's almost like a junior associate at a consulting firm. You start off on the bottom, showing specialist, apprentice, work your way up. It sounds like that's the angle you're going with, the showing specialist. Work under a mentor.
Similar.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Next thing you
Yep.
shared. Good.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I will say a lot of seasoned agents that do apply for that ad actually end up what they're really looking for is the leverage of the team versus actually being a showing specialist. So once we start like digging into what are their goals and what are they looking for and what are they struggling with or what are they yearning for, different things like that, um, most end up joining not as a showing specialist, but as a buyer. And we can do buyers and sellers on our team both. So as a sales agent, because they realize once they leverage everything else off, the role of a sales agent isn't as daunting as what they've been doing by themselves. So even though that ad pulls in a lot of seasoned agents, not everybody flows under the showing specialist model. But it does bring in a lot of seasoned agents that then we can have that conversation about their business. And we tend to go in a different direction than the showing specialist with a lot of people because of that. Does that make sense?
It reminds me of a cash offer ad, but there really is the
Yeah,
listing is what they need.
right, right. And it's not like that, you know, it's just understanding all their
Yeah.
options and what is better for them. Almost exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
The career information sessions, usually I think those are referred to as career nights. You chose the language career information sessions. That's for probably more of the newer agents of getting into the business. Is that right? And someone else teaches those?
It is. And honestly, that's just for me. I don't like staying out at night. So I don't like to do it at night. That's why I say career information
When do you do
sessions.
them? Are they in person or on Zoom? I think you answered that, but
So so in person is from 4 to 6 p.m. And I know that's not late. But again, those are typically drawing in people that aren't licensed. So I don't actually do those. I have two people on my team that join together with our brokerage that they do those sessions, but it's from 4 to 6. And then the other career information session is Saturday morning, and that one is once a month and it's over Zoom. And we actually, you know, the day and the age of Zoom, we actually have a higher attendance more times than not on the Zoom one. And it might have to do with that it's Saturday morning. So
social media. There's your
yes.
viral marketing. We needed a way to stay in touch with all the agents for the mastermind and the leads that come in from the job boards. Pretty much everybody. Why
Yeah,
don't you
I
speak
think
to a
that
little
kind of
more about
tied
that?
everything
Yeah.
together, right? I feel like I was doing everything on its own. And then when I included viral marketing, the plan just kind of put a bow on it and tied everything together for sure.
Now with social media, you went a very different, well, not a very different direction, but there's one way of looking at social media of, kind of selling the dream and posting photos of success, what you're able to do. Our method is more creating videos, articulating your competence and expertise to train. Tell me why you were drawn more toward creating video content to teach for your
You know,
social media.
I think it's like almost the same answer of when you asked me how many people I talk to and how many people I recruit every month, is because not everybody's going to be a fit for us. We're not going to be a fit for them, and they're not going to be a fit for us. I think that what I'm super passionate about is helping people figure that out. So, you know, it's opened up for me to have conversations and help other people, whether they come and join us or not. I think that, you know, I've been doing real estate since 2002. I feel super old when I say that. Since 2002. You know, sometimes this business can be tough, and sometimes you just need somebody to kind of throw some things off of and talk about over things with. And so honestly, at the end of the day, Frank, I just love helping people. And if we end up working together, that's a bonus. Then we're down that path together. So by putting those viral pieces out, it helps me kind of get the message out. And honestly, I think that I may not even know the whole scope of the amount of people that it's touching. And maybe that day helping one person in their business, I think is important.
You're a teacher. You enjoy teaching
Yeah,
and coaching, don't you?
I do. I love it.
Mhm. What were some of your more popular topics that you published? What do you send out that gets the most response for you that you think people want to hear? What advice could you give to someone watching that
Hmm.
wants to publish on social media? It's maybe thinking about doing video or something like viral. What tips?
Well, so I'd say those are two questions. I say anything that we talk about that is the basic real estate activities, I get the most amount of questions on. Nothing super difficult, nothing super fancy. Like when we're talking about strategizing over how to talk about price reductions, that one I got a lot of comments on and a lot of questions and feedback on. Um, Talking about the how to strategize over showing less properties to buyers than more properties. Like, honestly, it's just the basic real estate stuff. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Now, what was it? The second thing that you just said that was taking me in a different direction. You asked two things. You said, what was the most? And then what was your second thing? Do you remember what you asked me?
Now, after listening to your answer, I think you kind of hit both. Is the topics that get the best results are answering the questions that you're actually getting from your agents, which
Yeah.
ground you constantly from going off on tangents of interesting topics. You're
Yes.
you're publishing the questions that your agents are actually asking publicly, and they're simple.
Yeah. And they're simple. They're simple. And I think that was what I was struggling with social media. I'm never going to be that person of like doing the dances on social media and the funny things like that. That's not my personality. So I just overthought it all the time. What kind of, video and gimmick and, how do I get all these things out to people? And you guys just helped me streamline it and realize that most real estate agents and professionals in this business want to understand how to do their job better or easier or look at it in a different way, but it's still the basic fundamentals of real estate is what people want to know. So you guys kind of helped me reel that in, and you haven't asked me to dance funny on videos yet.
If you sit there and you think about what to publish and what to post, question and answer of the people who are actually going to pay you or hire you just grounds you really fast. This is
Yeah.
what's relevant to your market. So
Yeah.
I'm going to come back with a question on that here in a minute, but I want to get to the very last thing you shared because I thought this was very insightful and helpful given that you're with Place, is the revenue share. So all of this we discussed so far is like your shoulders to bring them in. But this last part isn't, that your team members are incentivized to bring people in.
Mhm.
Do you want to speak to a little bit about that?
Sure. So the one thing that is really important to us is that we create an environment that the people, our agent partners, the people that are surrounding us, um, it's their company. We want them to feel invested in it. We want them to feel like um, they own something, that they're part of something bigger. And so besides the stock options and those types of things, revenue share, like I said in the beginning, it's important on who we surround ourselves with. And, if our agents are out there having conversations with agents and they like someone and they want to be in business with somebody, we want to give them a benefit of helping us grow our company. So revenue share, they get 1% of GCI. And for every single year that they and the other person are with our company. So it's a great incentive for them to, and I'll be totally honest, even before we started doing revenue share, our team members were sharing with other people about what we were doing on the team and all of the ways that we were growing and helping them leverage. We just thought that it was time that we could figure out a plan that they would get incentivized for it. So 1% of gross commission income is what they get for every year, the entire time they're with our company.
That's great. So that's what you're doing to get 10 conversations a week to recruit who you want. think we're
Yep.
answering what you're doing to recruit in a down market. I do want to go back here. Everything that you shared here is kind of not, doesn't really cost you money to necessarily put on a mastermind besides some internal labor. The job
Hmm.
boards, I'm sure, are included in many ways with what the place, career
Yep.
information sessions or meetings. The revenue share is built in on the back end. But Vyral costs you hard money.
Hmm.
It's charged to you. Maybe give some insight of how you justify that when we spoke beforehand, how you've been cutting expenses and getting ahead of the problem, but Vyral hasn't gotten cut. I really want to cut to the chase and know why. I want to hear it from you.
I think that, I looked at the whole plan together and thought that that was for me the missing piece that was really making the whole plan impactful. It just had the missing pieces that I was looking for. So that was the first thing. um, Immediately started getting results and knowing that it was making an impact. So that was kind of a solidifier for me. But
Oh,
I also know a lot of people that already do viral.
yeah.
That before I made that decision, I had conversations with them, and they could show me like tell me actual proof of here's how it is impacting. Here's how it is helping with my business, and then it just fit. um, you also can get sponsorship. So even though I've committed to pay you every single month, hard cold cash, like you said, you can get sponsors by your lender. You can get the sponsors by your inspector. So it actually doesn't cost as much money as you would think.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
I
then
like asking that
ROI at the
question.
end of the day, you gotta look at the ROI, right? Does it make sense? And this just made sense.
What was that first hit? When you started with us, it was like, yeah, this is good. Do you remember that moment? This is going to help me.
Honestly, so I do actually. And it had nothing to do with the viral videos because I wasn't even ready for those yet. But in the beginning, you have I'm gonna call them your setup team. You might call them
Yeah,
something
onboarding
else,
team.
onboarding team.
Hmm.
So you have your onboarding team. And even before we hit the first video, your onboarding team just made it so smooth. And just by simply going in and gaining access to my social media and asking all the questions that you guys have set up in your plan for onboarding, even before the first video, I felt like I'd spent hours and hours and hours and hours, and I can't tell you even how many hours because it was of so many hours of like setting all that up or thinking about it or creating a plan for all of that. And your guys were just so, first of all, pleasant and lovely, but just so knowledgeable on what they do. So even in the setup spot, I was like, oh, okay. It just leveraged and relieved so much of my time that I've been trying to do on my own. Did that answer your question? Like, I
Yeah, so
feel
it's
like
it's
I'm
it's a
cheating a
different
little bit because it's not even
no, it's a different
the
angle. You like the
video part.
service. Yeah, it's not.
This the service and the leverage of using somebody who knows what they're doing. They just like put all the pieces of the puzzle together. um the service and the leverage of those kind of things were so impactful even before the videos. Yeah,
Well,
saved
thank you.
me hours. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything, last question, for someone that wants to learn from you and what you're doing, or what you're doing to recruit in a down market? What insight would you also like to share with that person who's watching that they could use, that you've learned, that you want
I
to pass on?
I think the biggest thing from when I was recruiting before to recruiting now is creating a system and a plan around it. Everything started to come together when I sat down and I first had that thought of where are the people around me? Where did they come from? And I started kind of breaking down that plan. And because I don't believe it is one piece of the pie. I believe that I've worked hard for each piece of the pie to perform at the highest level that that piece of the pie can do. But I truly believe that it's each piece of the pie and the plan, including viral, And like I said, Vyral probably trickles to all the other pieces and pulls it all together. So I would say that would be the number one thing. Is I've been a recruiter for a long time, for my company, and I've just recruited over here and recruited over here and recruited over here versus have an actual action plan and pulling them all together. So take a minute, create that plan. I think that has made a huge difference in my consistency.
Tamara, thank you.
It was nice talking with you.
I think we answered the question today. If you guys like get a copy of her marketing plan that she's following, you can go to getvyral.com and download a copy of, or actually it's not behind a landing page, just click marketing plan on the top of the website. And that's everything she's following to complement everything else that you're doing. So thank you. We'll end it there.
Awesome. Thank you as well.